U.S. President Donald Trump holds back-to-back phone calls with China and Japan. Taiwan and U.S. states are figuring out how to strengthen ties as Taiwanese investors eye the U.S.
所以美国已经成为台湾最大的投资对象。
Taiwan's AI exports are driving a big boost in GDP, but what about other sectors? Plus, how a brutal murder almost 30 years ago spurred Taiwan to seek stronger protections for women. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chan. Taiwan may have once again emerged as a key geopolitical issue after U.S. President Donald Trump held phone calls with leaders of China and Japan on Tuesday. Alan Lu reports.
A month after U.S. President Donald Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea, the two leaders spoke again on the phone. China's foreign ministry says the two discussed Taiwan, adding that the U.S. understands the importance of the Taiwan issue to China. But in a social media post from Trump, the U.S. president said the call covered topics like Ukraine and Russia, fentanyl, soybeans, and other farm goods, making no mention of Taiwan. It's a stark contrast from their meeting last month on the sidelines of the APEC summit, where both sides said Taiwan didn't come up in their talks. Taiwan says it has been closely following talks between the U.S. and China. Officials say Beijing is trying to intimidate Taiwan.
中方在新闻声明中再度蓄意片面扭曲我国主权地位与相关事实，最主要的目的就是企图胁迫台湾。
中华民国台湾是一个完完全全的主权独立的国家，2300万的国人没有回归的这个选项。
下午好。
The call comes as China is wrapped in a dispute with Japan, after Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi Sanai said a Chinese invasion of Taiwan could trigger a military response from Tokyo. China strongly protested her remarks and ramped up military activity in the region. But Trump didn't just speak to Xi. He then went on to have a phone call with Takaichi in their first talk since the Japan-China spat.
Under the current international circumstances following President Trump's recent visit to Japan, I believe that I was able to confirm the close cooperation between Japan and the U.S.
But with no details released from the U.S.-Japan call, and Takaichi offering no comments on whether the Taiwan Strait came up, questions are now being raised about how Trump is handling the Taiwan issue.
随着时间的发展，川普越来越意识到台湾议题是一个非常难处理的问题，所以我觉得川普现在好像感觉上就是尽量淡化有关台湾的议题。那可是反过来就是说，如果这个习近平为了高市的谈台湾议题跑去找川普，那么高市也来去跟川普通电话，其实等于是拉高了川普总统在美国、日本中间做一个谈判者的角色。
Trump says he has accepted Xi's invitation to visit Beijing in April and has also invited Xi for a state visit to the U.S. later next year. With both Japan and China shining a positive light on their relations with Washington, Taiwan is also watching to see how ties between the three countries will evolve. Heng Shi and Alan Lu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has made increasing investment in the U.S. a priority. As the two sides continue talks to lower Washington's tariff rate on Taiwanese goods, it's U.S. state-level representative offices in Taiwan that often facilitate the deals that bring investment dollars onto American soil. Leslie Liao has more.
At a time when the U.S. is evaluating its trade relationship with Taiwan, Taipei touts its contributions to the American market.
台湾对美国的投资占呢我们台湾整体对外投资的40%，所以美国已经成为台湾最大的投资对象。
Ling's comments come after U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has slapped a general 20% reciprocal tariff on most Taiwanese goods entering the American market. That 20% goes on top of any existing duties. Taiwan is trying to negotiate down the 20% tariff, but any downward adjustment is expected to come at a price. Last week, a report in the Financial Times said Taiwan could commit up to $400 billion in investments to secure a lower tariff rate, While an agreement has yet to be finalized, Taipei does seem to be teeing up further U.S.-Taiwan investment, regardless of what comes of tariff negotiations.
台湾投资美国队，美国投资台湾队，也就是赖总统讲的这个台湾美国的经贸的发展的路径图我们具体的在实践当中。
Ling's remarks come at an appreciation gala for the American State Offices Association, or ASOA. The organization is made up of roughly 24 representatives from U.S. states and territories. If Taiwan commits more investment in the U.S., each office will also be looking to attract Taiwan investment to their region, vying for a piece of the pie. This is the job of each representative office.
A lot of Taiwanese companies don't know what it's like to go abroad, right? Their biggest issue is not that they don't want to go to the U.S., it's that they don't have the knowledge to go to the U.S. So our office works on promoting this.
But each rep not only has to guide investors to Taiwan, they also think about which aspect of Taiwanese industry is most suited for their part of the U.S.
So New Jersey has a different value proposition. We're really good at the life sciences. Top 10 of the top 8 life sciences company, they're based in New Jersey. So recently we see an acquisition from Taiwan. They spent 200 million Taiwanese dollars to acquire a company in New Jersey in the biotech sector.
For Taiwanese businesses, understanding which state is best suited for their operations is valuable for expansion to the U.S. For Jeff Hu, the CEO of a cybersecurity firm, ASOA played a crucial role in where to land his business in the U.S.
And so it actually brings us a lot of opportunity to meet people from other states to give us the first-hand information like which state to choose, where should we go, where are the partners.
While Taiwan and the U.S. continue to hash out a trade and investment deal, it is these people-to-people connections led by state representatives and organizations like ASOA which will help to fill in the actual details of these partnerships. John Su and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
South Korea's trade minister says his country could work with Taiwan to lower U.S. President Donald Trump's proposed chip tariffs. The comments come after Washington and Seoul announced a trade deal earlier this month. Under the deal, the U.S. said South Korean chips would face tariff terms no less favorable than those applied to any other major chip-producing nation. Currently, Taiwan is the world's largest chip producer, with South Korea in second place. South Korean officials did not say whether they have held any talks with Taiwan on the matter. New research from a leading local think tank shows Taiwan's economy is heating up on the back of AI and high-tech exports, even as older export industries fall behind. As Chris Goring reports, the benefits of the AI boom may not be limited only to economic growth.
Taiwan's economy is running hot. A new report from the Taiwan Institute of Economic Research, or TIER, says exports have jumped by around 1/3 so far this year, led by AI-related tech and electronics.
因为你今天的投资也变成明天的外销，所以我们台湾今年表现最亮眼的，一是外销出口的表现，二是投资的表现，这两个支撑了台湾经济成长率。目前我们上修到6%，也都来自于投资跟出口，但是我们的内需消费就稍微疲弱一点。
The group this month upped its 2025 projection for Taiwan's economic growth to nearly 6%, almost double its estimate back in February. And this would be among the strongest growth in recent years. That growth is highly concentrated in high-tech exports like chips, AI servers, and electronics. But according to the group's survey, growth in more traditional exports like petrochemicals and metals is lagging, and sentiment in those industries is low.
资讯产品占了45%，电子零组件占了35%，这两个加起来就80%。所以其他的钢铁产品、石化产品现在占比都压缩到5%以下。 那我们知道，虽然他们的占比比较低，但里面就业的人口很多，就跟农业一样。
AI's benefits may not be limited to exports. One researcher says it can help with Taiwan's labor shortage as the country faces an aging population.
但今年我刚刚看到一个数字是，我们台湾今年1到10月份只有生8万个小孩，也就是到今年年底的话，台湾会不会有10万个都有问题？ 所以不是 AI 取代人力，是我们人力可能本来就不太够。如果 AI 跟机器人能够应运而生，其实刚好补足了这人力的缺口，倒也不是坏事。
However, the focus of the report was strictly economic and did not make recommendations on social issues. What the numbers presented today do clearly show is that the AI boom continues to be the driving force behind Taiwan's economic growth. The question now is, how long will it last? Hu Hua-hong and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
An updated case that shocked Taiwan's entertainment industry. Former TV host Mickey Huang has been handed a suspended sentence for charges related to his purchase of thousands of sexually explicit videos of minors. The court says Huang has shown remorse for his victims, but some say the law has failed them. Irene Lin has more.
Disgraced Taiwanese entertainer Mickey Huang, most recently known for buying sexually explicit videos of girls aged 10 to 17 online, may be given a new chance at life. That's after an appeal ruling on Tuesday saw the former TV host handed a suspended sentence of 1.5 years for data privacy violations. If Huang keeps a clean record for the next 4 years, he will not have to serve time. The judge said Huang showed remorse and had already compensated his victims.
被告先前没有因为犯罪受有期徒刑以上刑事宣告，且与37位被害人都已经达成和解，给付赔偿完毕，被害人也都同意给予被告缓刑的机会。
Huang's case was a bombshell for Taiwan's entertainment industry, part of a wave of sexual misconduct allegations against public figures that became known as Taiwan's Me Too movement. He was accused last year of assaulting and coercing girls into taking nude photos. Prosecutors dropped that case due to lack of evidence. But during their investigation, they found videos at the center of the current case on his personal hard drive. Last December, a lower court sentenced Huang to 8 months for sexual exploitation of minors, a decision that many criticize as too lenient. For Huang's victims, the appeal was a chance to see justice served. But the lawyer representing them says the most recent ruling shows cracks in Taiwan's criminal justice system.
我们希望这个案件的结束是被害人疗愈的开始，也是我们台湾社会对儿少保护的重新开始。这个结果某程度也凸显了我们现在的法律对于要遏阻这一种的性犯罪的数位的性犯罪，可能还有不足。
Huang is only guilty of consuming the videos, not of producing them. And all 11 people found guilty of running the online forum where the videos were sold have been given sentences ranging from 17 months to 12 years. The ruling on Tuesday can still be appealed. The victim's lawyer says the real goal is not to get a lengthy sentence, but to draw attention to the harm caused by child sexual abuse material and to stop its spread. Ryan Wu and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
In December 1996, the head of the Democratic Progressive Party's Women's Affairs Department, Peng Wan-ru, was murdered in Kaohsiung. The case still remains unsolved, but it spurred better protections for women in Taiwan. As the world marks International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, our reporter Tiffany Wong spoke with Lee Yen-jong, director of the DPP's Department of Gender Equality, about the impact Peng's killing had on the country. A warning to viewers that this report contains some graphic descriptions of Peng's murder.
So Peng Wan-ru was a pretty prominent activist in the women's rights movement at the time of her death, and her murder also sparked more interest in this movement and concerns about violence against women. Could you tell us more about the reaction to her murder at the time within the DPP and also with the public?
Okay. Back then, Peng Wan-ru was the first director of Department of Women's Development of DPP, or Democratic Progressive Party. And before she worked at DPP, she also worked for several prominent feminist organizations in Taiwan. She entered and she joined DPP to work for DPP because she wanted to bring the movement, feminist movement, into politics. By the time she was murdered, back then she was putting lots of energy in promoting gender quota of 1/4 inside DPP. And before until the day she was murdered, she still tried to convince all our representative and also all the political actors inside our party. She left the hotel very late, like maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 in the evening, or even later. So, and she entered this taxi, and then she was murdered that night. And the next day, December 1st, 1996, that was the National Congress of DPP. And that was supposed to be the day that all our party representatives to vote for this proposal. But they waited on site for Peng Wan-ru until maybe like 10 o'clock. But she was not there, and they have been searching for I think 2 days, and at the end her body was found in suburb area of Kaohsiung County back then, and she was murdered, and she was raped, and she was like stabbed like maybe more than 30 times. So that was a shock, totally shock for Taiwanese society.
Could you tell me more about the legal changes that happened after Peng Wan-ru's murder and also the societal changes?
I think December 21st, the same year, there was a huge march, huge demonstration, organizing a lot of people, all the political actors in different parties and all the feminist activists, and that was a huge demonstration in Taipei. So afterwards, Taiwanese parliament, we passed several very milestone bills for women's protection, like code, I think how we call that? Code for prevention for domestic violence, and also the code for prevention of sexual assaults. Peng Wan-ru was murdered 29 years ago. Of course, we had some improvement in social awareness of victims of domestic violence and also victims of sexual assault. You can see the Me Too movement back in 2023 in Taiwan. After Peng Wan-ru's death, I think people got to understand that sexual assault was really, really an issue in Taiwan. And our government started to put some resources and pass some legislation to implement this system to protect our victims. The policemen, our prosecutor, and social workers, the people, the professional who receive victims on the front line, they have more training to deal with the trauma of the victims and also in the way they communicate with the victims. I think it's something very important. Now our system is much friendly compared to the one we had in 30 years ago. So but we still have a lot of improvement to do, but still we need to give the government credit for that.
That was Lee Yen-jong, director of the DPP's Department of Gender Equality. Taiwan's women's bowling team has won gold at the Deaflympics in Tokyo. The team secured the top spot after defeating South Korea. At the same time, a Taiwanese men's table tennis squad nabbed silver after a 3-0 loss to China. Taiwan's tally for the games now stands at 11 medals, 1 gold, 5 silvers, and 5 bronzes. Coming up after the break, what's that clicking sound? Well, it's a whale of a discovery.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Ling Jialong says there's potential for more formal security agreements with neighboring countries. Lin says Taiwan is not exploring a formal security treaty with Japan, but he says more frequent exchanges and cooperation are possible. When asked about how Taiwan could support Japan during its ongoing diplomatic spat with China, he said Taipei would continue to strengthen bilateral ties with Tokyo. Lin also highlighted Taiwan's strategic position along the First Island chain, a string of territories that include Japan, the Philippines, and parts of Malaysia, which blocks much of China's access to the open ocean.
我们可以说，第一岛链也是同一个战区这样的观念。那美国的印太战略，特别是印太司令部，他们跟包括日韩 菲律宾、澳纽也都有安全的条约，那跟台湾有台湾关系法，好，这之间会有产生很多的这一个未来。
For more on Taiwan's growing regional engagement and cooperation, our reporter Lee Yen-jong spoke with Lee Yen-jong from the National University of Singapore.
How has Taiwan's regional engagement, that's countries like Japan, the Philippines, ASEAN nations, changed in recent years, especially in the last year under President Lai?
Taiwan has always engaged quietly in an unofficial manner. Apparently, there has been more conversations with Japan and the Philippines in particular. A lot of this has to do with increasing concern about PRC pressure, on the so-called First Island chain that could affect the interests of all these parties.
Do you anticipate, given the tensions between Japan and China, China and the Philippines, any changes to Taiwan's security cooperation with regional neighbors, especially in the absence of formal diplomatic ties between Taipei and Manila and Taipei and Tokyo?
A lot of this has to do with the recognition on the part of the Philippines that geographically they're right next to Taiwan. Any instability in Taiwan could quickly spill over. Likewise, I think Taiwan realizes that with the Philippines just to its south and the rising tensions in the South China Sea, any escalation could easily move north as well. Thus, a similar logic applies to Japan. So these considerations have driven them to be a lot, Manila and Tokyo and Taipei, to be a lot more aware of each other and a lot more aware of the need to at least understand what each other's positions are. Lots of things don't need formal diplomatic ties. So Taipei and Tokyo have had long-standing, close but unofficial ties. Same thing with Washington. Ties with the Philippines have only more recently been revitalized.
What do you see as likely indicators of future shifts in security policy in the region?
It's a matter of interest, right? It's a matter of wanting to keep themselves and their interests safe, and there seems to be reason to look at what each other are doing more so now than ever. And indicators would possibly be more robust and sophisticated forms of coordination. If the parties, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, speak with each other not just bilaterally, but on a multilateral basis. Perhaps if they bring in other actors that have deep interest in the region as well, the coverage of the missiles and also equipment, aircraft, etc., overlap suggests that there is a recognition that having an extended forward line of defense may be important, and that may mean that Taiwan features more in Japanese and Filipino considerations.
That was Lee Yen-jong from the National University of Singapore. Taiwan's Interior Minister says collaboration is key to dealing with increasing frequency of natural disasters in the country.
那今年的马泰安溪的堰塞湖跟利雾溪的堰塞湖的事件，让我们更深刻的体会，灾害不再是一个单一的事件，而是充满的不确定性与挑战性，急需要跨领域的协作因应。
Liu made the remarks at an international forum in Taipei. The two-day conference focuses on lessons learned from recent devastating flooding in eastern Taiwan. In September, a naturally formed dam burst, inundating a nearby town with muddy water and leaving 19 people dead. The Taipei Forum welcomes officials, scholars, and NGOs from fields related to disaster response. Conservationists are working to bring their research on cetaceans off the Taiwan's east coast to the world stage. Our reporter Sandy Chi explains how they do it.
The chirping of spinner dolphins, the singing of common bottlenose dolphins, and the clicking of sperm whales. Beneath the waves, there is an ocean of sounds.
第一次听到某香鲸的那个咔嗒咔嗒的那个声音传进耳朵里，透过这个耳机，我就觉得好像我跟这个自然环境、海洋环境连接变得更深刻了。
These recordings of cetaceans off Taiwan's east coast were made by NGO Hualien Formosa Association and a local whale watching company, parts of a massive project that started in 2023 to study aquatic mammals. Using offshore observation and monitoring, The team, including volunteers, take still and aerial photos and make acoustic surveys of the animals, collecting well over 300 underwater recordings, which they then organize for study.
在那个当下，其实我们是一个原始的声音，全部捞上来，在做很多的讯号的处理之后，我们把它整理出来。
Most of the recordings come from sperm whales. The project heads say it's evidence that several sperm whale pods still return to Taiwan's waters each year, despite decades of fast industrial growth and weak early environmental rules polluting the seas.
幸好台湾社会并不是那么的善待海洋，但是海洋善待台湾，留给我们离岸比较远的梦想境。
To date, some of its data has already been released on international scientific platforms for researchers around the world. The team hopes to build a solid foundation for cetacean research in Taiwan and show the world their commitment to marine life and future scientific studies. Andy Xuan, Sanichi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we take you to see the efforts to preserve several cultural relics in Penghu, an outlying island of Taiwan. I'm Betty Chen. Take care and see you next time.